screen come a bunch of icons. So you just touch the icons and it brings up things like a calendar, your email, your address book, and all other kinds of stuff like that, your different applications. And what would we call that smartphone? Well, no, not a computer. What company does that? What product?
It's an iPhone.
Yes. The iPhone might be a thing that we all jump up and down about. And of course, you're wrong. This is the world's first smartphone. I own 2 of them, and they both still work. It was made in 1993 by IBM and Bell South. And yes, it really does have one big screen in the front that's a touch screen. And yes, it really only has an on-off switch and a volume control. And these are some of the screens on it. There's the icons and so on. Here's the phone dialer. It had a fax machine in it. It actually lets you draw. You could use touch or a stylus on it, so you could actually do little notes and drawings. Then you could then send the drawings and so on and so forth. And what's very interesting about it is, and this is the thing about this, is why it really is a piece of garbage. And I'm so disappointed. It had no web browser. Now, how could they do all that clever stuff and not have a web browser? Because there was no web in 1993. This is earlier than the World Wide Web. Mosaic didn't come out until later that year. Now, let us tell you something. There was a guy at Apple around this time who was designing a PDA with a touch and a pen called the Newton. That guy's name was Jonathan Ive. He went on to design something called the iPod and the iMac and the iPhone. Let's be very clear about something. It is impossible, because he is an outstanding designer who absolutely was around then, and absolutely, if you look at his work, you know that he's influenced by Dieter Rams. If you look at his other work of the iPod Mini, that he's definitely Walter Dorwin Teague. It's a direct quote from there. This guy is an outstanding designer who knows the literature and history. He absolutely knew about this one. Now, what's interesting is we're designers, and most of us don't know about it. And furthermore, we've read more articles about the design of the iPhone than almost any other product, and I bet you not one of them has mentioned this. That's like writing about Jimi Hendrix and not mentioning that he plays the blues, and that he didn't invent the blues. Right? Jimi Hendrix, by the way, did not invent the 12-bar blues, just in case you were under that illusion. But you laugh, and that's absurd, but in design, that's what everybody thinks. Just substitute the blues of Jimi Hendrix with Apple and the iPhone, for example, with the fax. And by the way, I'm not criticizing that any more than I'm criticizing Jimi Hendrix for playing the blues. What I'm trying to say is that these great designers, and I include Jonathan Ive as one of them, knows about the long nose, and my sense is that if he or Picasso or Rem Koolhaas can quote the past to make the future, if it's good enough for them, damn it, it's good enough for us. We don't have to invent it from scratch ourselves to prove how good we are. It's not the way it works. But we've been taught, the closer you get to North America, the more you believe this. You've been taught that you have to do it by yourself, or else you're not really the genius that deserves all this sort of stuff. And places like the Media Lab have perpetrated that notion. That's how it works. It's not how it works. Palm Pilot is another great example of where we don't look. People look at the Palm Pilot, they write books about it and articles, and they say everything about it, the reason it's so successful is that, you know, the graffiti, or it was small, or it was cheap, or it fit in your pocket, or it had so little functionality. That's all important, but there were many other products that had those properties. What was important about that nobody talks about because they haven't done their homework was about trust. This was a trust sale. Because up until this time, if you lost your PDA or your phone with data in it, you were sweet out of luck. With HotSync, if you lost this, you'd lost a $200 piece of hardware but no information. Because the key thing with HotSync was you could photocopy your entire contents in less than a minute with one button push. And furthermore, when you bought it brand new, you didn't have to spend all your time putting all your names in it. You just put it in the dock, and if you had an address list on your PC, you push a button, and it was completely transferred in one button push. That's what sold this. It took the complexity out because it realized the real pain point with these devices was trusting the device not to lose your data or make you vulnerable if you lost the device. And you had everything backed up. And then, because you can't photocopy your file files, you just don't do it. You could on this in one button push. And then there's other things too, which are really